Good morning, afternoon, evening, and everyone. Today I want to address a topic rooted in empathy and partnership. Understanding the often overlooked challenges women face. These are not weaknesses to exploit, but vulnerabilities to acknowledge, respect, and support. By shedding light on these, we can foster deeper connections and create relationships built on mutual understanding. When we talk about sharing the load, we're not just referring to splitting chores or taking turns doing the dishes, though that's part of it. What we're really addressing is the iceberg beneath the surface, the invisible labor that so often falls on women's shoulders. Think about the mental checklist that never turns off. It's remembering to buy birthday gifts for your niece, scheduling doctor's appointments, noticing when the fridge is empty, planning family gatherings, or sensing when a friend needs support. These tasks aren't just about doing, they're about anticipating, organizing, and emotionally holding space for others. This is emotional labor, and it's exhausting. Women are often socialized to be the managers of relationships and households, conditioned to believe their worth is tied to how seamlessly they keep the wheels turning. But here's the problem. When one person becomes the default curator of everyone else's comfort, it breeds resentment, burnout, and a quiet erosion of their own needs. Societal pressures amplify this burden. Women are told they can have it all: a thriving career, a spotless home, a perfect relationship, and a Pinterest-worthy lifestyle. But rarely are they given permission to ask for help without judgment. The myth of the superwoman persists, leaving many feeling like failures when they can't meet impossible standards. Men, on the other hand, are often praised as heroes for basic contributions, playing with the kids, cooking a meal, or babysitting their own children. This double standard perpetuates inequality. It's not just about fairness, it's about dismantling a system that equates a woman's value with her ability to sacrifice herself. So how do we shift this dynamic? It starts with awareness. Notice the unseen work. Ask yourself, who plans the vacations? Who tracks school deadlines? Who remembers your mother's dietary restrictions at Thanksgiving? These tasks require cognitive and emotional bandwidth. When they go unrecognized, they become a silent tax on women's mental health. The next step is proactive partnership. Don't wait to be assigned a role. Claim it. If you see laundry piling up, fold it. If a meeting is needed to discuss household budgets, initiate it. If your partner is juggling work calls and daycare pickup, step in without being asked. This isn't helping, it's owning your share of a life you're building together. But let's be honest, even the most well-intentioned partners can miss the mark. Why? Because emotional labor isn't always tangible. It's the mental gymnastics of worrying whether a friend's tone meant they were upset, or the emotional toll of mediating family disputes. It's knowing that if you don't plan the holiday dinner, it won't happen, and then being criticized for nagging when you remind others to contribute. To bridge this gap, communication is key. Have open conversations about how responsibilities are distributed. Use tools like shared calendars or task lists to visualize the workload. And when disagreements arise, focus on problem solving, not blame. Another critical piece is challenging societal norms. Why are women expected to be natural nurturers while men are applauded for stepping up? This isn't just a personal issue, it's cultural. Push back against stereotypes. Normalize men as equal partners in emotional labor. Celebrate fathers who take parental leave, sons who care for aging parents, and male leaders who advocate for workplace flexibility. Representation matters. When boys see men actively engaging in caregiving and household management, it reshapes their understanding of masculinity. Finally, recognize that sharing the load isn't just about fairness, it's about freedom. When women aren't drowning in invisible labor, they have space to thrive creatively, professionally, and personally. And when men engage fully in emotional and domestic responsibilities, they gain deeper connections with their families and a stronger sense of purpose. This isn't a zero-sum game. It's a shared journey toward mutual respect. This segment flows into the broader speech, leaving room to transition to the next keynote without a formal conclusion. Let me know if you'd like adjustments. Imagine a woman standing at the podium of a major conference, about to deliver a keynote address. She's earned this moment. Years of late nights, groundbreaking ideas, and relentless perseverance got her here. But instead of feeling pride, her mind races. Do I belong here? What if they realize I'm not as smart as they think? This is imposter syndrome, that quiet thief of joy that whispers, "You're a fraud," even as the world applauds your achievements. And while it affects people of all genders, women often face a unique collision of societal messaging and internalized doubt that magnifies this struggle. From childhood, girls are praised for being well-behaved and polite, while boys are celebrated for being bold and ambitious. These labels plant seeds early. Women learn to downplay their success, to attribute their wins to luck or help from others, while men are conditioned to own their accomplishments unapologetically. By adulthood, this dynamic becomes a labyrinth of second-guessing. A study by the Journal of Behavioral Science found that women are less likely to apply for roles unless they meet 100% of the qualifications, while men apply at 60%. It's not a lack of skill, it's a surplus of self-doubt. This isn't just about confidence, it's about systemic erasure. Think of the countless women in history whose contributions were overshadowed. Rosalind Franklin's role in discovering DNA, Katherine Johnson's calculations for NASA, or Chien-Shiung Wu's groundbreaking physics work. When society routinely dismisses or appropriates women's achievements, it sends a message. Your brilliance is incidental, not earned. Is it any wonder, then, that even the most accomplished women battle the fear of being found out? The impact is profound. Women hesitate to negotiate salaries, shy away from leadership roles, and over-prepare to prove their worth, an exhausting cycle that burns creativity and stifles potential. But here's where we can make a difference. Affirmation isn't just about kindness. It's a corrective force. When a woman shares an idea in a meeting and it's ignored, only to be celebrated when a man repeats it, speak up. Thank you for echoing Sarah's point. Let's discuss her proposal further. When she attributes her promotion to good timing, remind her, you earned this. Your dedication and skill got you here. Specificity matters. Vague praise like, you're amazing, feels nice but lacks depth. Instead, highlight tangible strengths. The way you navigated that client's concerns was masterful. You turned a crisis into trust. These acts of recognition aren't empty flattery. They're mirrors reflecting back the truth she struggles to see. Creating environments where women's achievements are expected, not surprising, is equally crucial. In workplaces, men can advocate for equitable visibility, recommend women for high-profile projects, credit their contributions in emails, and reject the office housework roles, like note-taking or party planning, that often default to them. Mentorship matters too. Share opportunities openly, sponsor women for promotions, and normalize discussions about ambition. For every woman who worries she's too assertive, having an ally who says, your voice is needed here, can be transformative. Yet affirmation alone isn't enough. We must also dismantle the systems feeding doubt. Challenge language that frames women's success as shocking or unprecedented. Celebrate women's wins without caveats. She's a great leader for a woman. In homes, fathers can model pride in their daughters' ambitions, teaching them to own their intelligence without apology. And in relationships, partners can reject the trope of the selfless nurturer by encouraging women to prioritize their goals without guilt. This isn't about handing out participation trophies. It's about correcting a skewed narrative. When a woman shares that she feels like an imposter, listen without minimizing her experience. Say, I understand that fear, but here's what I see. Someone resilient, capable, and endlessly resourceful. Help her reframe self-doubt as a sign of growth, proof she's stretching beyond her comfort zone. The ripple effects are profound. When women internalize their worth, they inspire others to do the same. They negotiate salaries that narrow the pay gap, lead teams with empathy, and innovate without apology. And men gain richer collaborations, partnerships, and a world where talent isn't stifled by stereotypes. This segment transitions naturally into the next keynote, maintaining the speech's momentum. Let me know if you'd like further refinements. Let's talk about silence. Not the quiet of a peaceful moment, but the silence that comes from swallowing words, smoothing edges, and bearing truths to keep the peace. Many women grow up learning to code switch, to soften their voices, or to laugh off discomfort rather than risk being labeled difficult or too emotional. They're taught to prioritize harmony over honesty, to shrink their needs to fit into spaces that weren't designed to hold them. But true connection isn't built on performative peace. It's built on the courage to speak authentically, even when the truth feels messy. The problem is, for many women, the stakes of speaking up feel perilously high. A woman who asserts her boundaries might be called cold. One who challenges a sexist joke risks being labeled humorless. A partner expressing frustration could be dismissed as nagging. Over time, these labels become emotional landmines, conditioning women to self-censor rather than risk conflict or rejection. This isn't just about individual relationships, it's systemic. From boardrooms to living rooms, women's voices are often interrupted, talked over, or outright ignored. Studies show men dominate 75% of conversations in professional settings, while women face amplification bias, needing to repeat ideas multiple times to be heard. At home, the mental load of managing household dynamics often falls on women, yet their concerns about unequal labor are frequently met with defensiveness. Just tell me what to do. But here's the catch-22. When women do articulate their needs, they're accused of complaining or overreacting. It's a paradox that leaves many feeling trapped. Speak up and face backlash, or stay silent and suffocate. Creating safe spaces for communication starts with dismantling these patterns. It begins with active listening, not just waiting for your turn to speak, but truly absorbing what's being said. When a woman shares a concern, resist the urge to problem solve immediately. Instead, pause. Ask, help me understand, what does this feel like for you? Validate her experience without deflecting. That sounds exhausting. I'm sorry you've been carrying that alone. This kind of empathy disarms defensiveness and signals that her perspective matters. But safety isn't just about reaction. It's about proactive invitation. Many women have been conditioned to equate conflict with failure, so they may hesitate to voice dissatisfaction until resentment boils over. Men can break this cycle by initiating check-ins. How are you really feeling about how we're splitting responsibilities? Or, is there anything I've been missing that's weighing on you? Frame these conversations as collaborations, not interrogations. Use we language. How can we make this better together? This shifts the dynamic from blame to partnership. Language itself is a minefield. Phrases like, you're being too sensitive, or calm down, dismiss her emotions as irrational, reinforcing the idea that her feelings are inconvenient. Instead, lean into curiosity. Tell me more about why this matters to you. Acknowledge the vulnerability it takes to speak honestly. Thank you for trusting me with this. It helps me understand. Even in disagreements, avoid tone policing. A raised voice isn't a lack of logic. It's often a sign of pent-up frustration from being unheard. In professional spaces, men can act as amplifiers. If a woman's idea is overlooked in a meeting, circle back. I think Maria's point about streamlining the workflow is crucial. Let's revisit that. If she's interrupted, interject. Let's let Sarah finish her thought. These small acts signal respect and create cultural shifts where women's contributions are valued by default. But safety also means allowing women to be imperfect. Society often holds women to higher standards of likability. They're expected to be assertive but not aggressive, confident but not arrogant, ambitious but not pushy. This tightrope walk stifles authenticity. Encourage the women in your life to take up space unapologetically. Celebrate when they set firm boundaries or voice unpopular opinions. Say, I admire how direct you were in that meeting, or it's brave to say what everyone's thinking. Finally, recognize that fostering safe communication requires humility. You'll make mistakes, interrupt, misunderstand, or react defensively. When that happens, own it. I realize I cut you off earlier. I'm sorry. What were you saying? Accountability rebuilds trust. It shows you're committed to growth, not perfection. The reward for this work? Deeper intimacy, stronger teams, and relationships where both parties feel seen. When women no longer waste energy self-editing, they bring their full creativity, insight, and passion to the table. And men gain partners who trust them enough to be real, not curated versions of themselves. This segment flows into the next keynote, maintaining the speech's continuity. Let me know if you'd like tweaks.